What is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we are going to be ranking the best small forwards in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM right here on this tier list. Before we hop into it, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 30,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day, tons of consistent daily MyTEAM content. Would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. Let's discuss. I don't know what TierMaker did. This is the website I use for TierMaker is the website I use for these tier lists. I don't know what they did recently, but the cards you select don't randomly scramble anymore, so I have to like scramble them myself to a certain extent so we don't just get all the 100 overalls in a row and stuff like that. But a lot of good small forwards on this list. If there's anybody I leave off the list that you'd like to hear my thoughts on, feel free to leave a comment. Try to get back to you and let you know I'd rank them. And without further ado, Josh Smith, first and foremost, S tier, 100%. He's 6'9", which is about average height at this point in the year for the small forward position, I would say. And it's good enough height. And his SIGs are top tier, his releases top tier, his animations are top tier, his stats and badges are top tier. He is just, quite simply, one of the more top tier small forwards in the game, bar none. Really, really good card. Definite S tier. Kyle Kuzma. Honestly, I want to put him S tier too, but I know other people aren't quite as high on him as I am. I only have 32-ish cards on this list, which means 5, 6 S tier guys. So is he in that top 5 or 6? Probably not. Is he really close? Yes. I think A tier for sure. Borderline S tier. Really good card though. He's just a worse Josh Smith, basically. Release isn't quite as good. I don't think isn't quite as elite defensively or statistically, but is very close. He's basically 95 everything. He's a really good card. Adam Morrison. Okay, I understand that was a little dramatic. Just immediately putting him D tier seems a little unfair, and maybe it kind of is. Maybe I go C. But here's the thing: I only have 32 cards. I have to be strict. There's got to be 4 or 5 D tier guys. Adam Morrison, he's right there. I mean, his release is not good, and he's 6'8". He's undersized. Player build isn't great. His release, because of his upper, is bad, and the upper also kind of ruins his fade. He's not a bad card, but he's certainly not game-changingly elite by any means. I think C tier is probably fair. I love Lauri Markkanen as a catch-and-shoot shooter, but he's not an unbelievable defender, and he certainly isn't much of a playmaker. He's got a lot of size at 7 foot. That is his biggest value, is how big he is. And I almost want to put him low B. I think I'm going to put him low B because I really like his release, and he's 7 foot tall. That's good. Like, those two things are very important to me. I think B tier is probably fair. Low B, high C, I don't know. I might wind up moving him down if I have too many B tier guys. Obviously, Wemby is S, as he is at every single position. The fact that they dropped Wemby at every single position is still super stupid. He's the tallest small forward in the game. He's very overpowered. And obviously, he's one of the best small forwards in the game, if not the best small forward in the game. Obvious S tier. Tim Thomas, I think, probably gets the last S tier spot. His release is a little inconsistent. That's my one critique with Tim Thomas. I do think he's a really good card who does a lot of things really, really well at the small forward position. His size is good at 6'10". He's got elite level SIGs, a top tier fade. Like, he's really a really good card as a whole. But his release is a little inconsistent at times. That's the one thing. It's fast, but it's inconsistent. And I still think he's really good. I'd still put him S tier, but it's like back of S tier. Larry Nance, I take him over Tim Thomas personally. Defensively, he's exceptional. His release is elite. He's got really good SIGs. And he's a great slasher. I'm really high on this Larry Nance card. I think there's a few really good free small forwards that have dropped pretty recently. Larry Nance is another one of them. Very, very good card. I would go S for him. Luol Deng is high B. Really good card. Just at a very stacked position. Really nice release. 6'9", solid defender. Can put the ball on the floor a bit. Like, Lauri's got to go C if I'm putting Louis. But like, Deng, it's tough because I kind of want to put him A. I don't know. He's got a better release than Lamar Odom, but Lamar Odom does have slightly better SIGs, and he's an inch taller. And his release isn't bad. I'm going to go with Lamar in A, and Luol might get moved up to A as well. But this feels like the type of list where I might just wind up being overall higher on cards than I would generally prefer to be, as much as that may not make a ton of sense. I just have a hard time. There's so many good small forwards. Like, a guy like Luol Deng should be A. He's really good. I think this might be a top-heavy list. I don't know. Whereas a PJ Washington, I'll go B with him. He's 6'7". He's got a very solid release, if not an unbelievably elite, exceptional release. He does a lot of things well. He dunks the ball very well. He's got great SIGs. He's 6'7's a little small. That's probably the biggest critique, is that he's only 6'7. But he's a good card. He's a very solid free small forward. I'd put him B. Blake Griffin's release stinks. He's not quite D tier because he is, 6'9" with a big player build, but I do think he is B tier, and I think that's a totally fair spot to put him, and I certainly wouldn't put him any higher than the B tier. The C tier. I don't hate the card, but I don't love him either. Larry Bird's I'm going B for Larry. As much, he's got better SIGs than Luol Deng, though. His release isn't quite as good as Luol Deng's, but his release, this is another tough one, to be completely honest. Like, I don't even really entirely know where to put the card. I guess I would go. I don't know. I think I have to go B for him. But then Luol Deng is like, is he also B? I guess he is. I think we go there. Giannis goes A because he's huge. That's the main reason, and I think that's a fair reason. He's 7 foot tall. He's an exceptional defender with great animations as a whole, an elite level slasher. Like Giannis is an exceptional card, and I think but this version of Giannis is still really, really elite. So for me, I think he still has to go A tier. Very, very good card. Billy Cunningham's the worst small forward yet on this list. He's small at 6'6", does not have exceptional animations. Is just a bit underpowered compared to the majority of these cards. I don't even know if I ever did gameplay with this Billy Cunningham card, but it's not much of a concern even if I didn't, because I don't think I did, and he's just not that good. He's just not. Like, I'm not even, I don't know. I just don't think he's a very good card. That's not me trying to bash Billy Cunningham. He's never been very good in 2K. Aaron Gordon's release stinks, and he doesn't have top tier SIGs. I think Blake is better than Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon's not an awful card, but he's certainly not, again, best of the best at the small forward position at this point in the year. So would definitely, again, have to put him in the D tier. I think Bobby Jones does deserve realistically to be in the A tier because his release is super nice. Like, I think he and Kuzma were the two best free small forwards in the game until they dropped a bunch of new options in the last couple weeks. Really last week especially was when they dropped like all these brand new small forwards that kind of changed the small forward position to a certain extent. But at the same time, I think he's really, really good still, and I think he's definitely an elite level defender with a solid release, top tier SIGs. The only thing he's really lacking, to be completely honest, is I would say slightly just the ability. Like, the release is a little mediocre, and also you combine that release with, in my opinion, just overall. Like, I don't think he's bad. I just don't think he's unbelievably great, and I don't know. I feel like you got to go A tier for him just because the 3-ball rating's a little low and stuff. Honest, Amari Stoudemire is going to go C. He's 6'10 with good SIGs, but that's about it. He doesn't have a good release at all. He does have good stats and badges, but his release is bad, and that's a killer. I mean, even at 6'10, that is a killer. His release is bad. Got to go A, C for him. Jonathan Isaac goes the same tier as Luol Deng. They're basically the same card. Jonathan Isaac is an inch taller. Luol's release is maybe slightly better. Their SIGs are about the same. I put them both B tier. They're both very good, but I think high B is the highest I can put them. 100 overall, Braun has to go A, but no, does he? He's 6'9". He's really great defensively. He's got awesome slashing animations, of course, as Braun always does. But I almost want to put him B because his release isn't that good. And, like, I compare him to John Isaac, Luol Deng. He's the same level as these guys, but I'm going to go A for now. We're going to leave him A. We might wind up coming back and moving him down a spot. We'll see. Chris Webber, same level as Amari Stoudemire, just not that great. Release is mediocre. He does have good size at 6'10", good stats and badges, but he's a very similar card to Stoudemire, honestly. Would put him C as well. Honestly, Sean Kemp, same book. I don't hate his release quite as much, but he's also not elite SIGs. Stats and badges on him are good, but not next level elite. Like, he's a good card, but I don't think he's anything special at the small forward position at all at this point in the year. I never get nervous when I'll say that when I play against Sean Kemp. Scotty Barnes is undersized without an elite release. I mean, SIGs are good, but again, like Adam Morrison, he's very similar to Adam Morrison, honestly, I feel like, in some ways. I feel like their size is similar. Like, I think they give you about the same thing, and I'm looking at this list. I feel like I got to move Adam Morrison down as well. He just fits more in the D tier than he does in the C tier. Shaq's only in C tier because he's 7'1". That's the only reason he stays out of the D tier at the small forward position. His height is becoming less and less valuable at each of these positions. At point guard and shooting guard, his height's more valuable than it is at small forward, just because there's bigger point guards and shooting guards, or more bigger small forwards than there are point guards and shooting guards. So I feel like Shaq is just release is really bad, and yes, he's huge, but I still don't think he's an unbelievably great card. I'd probably go C for him. 100 overall, Giannis. Honestly, him and his regular Dark Matter play about the same. I know they're different. I know they have slightly different SIGs, but their releases are very similar. And I mean, their releases are the same, I should say. And I think stat and badge wise, very similar. I don't think, while he does have much better stats and badges, and like in some areas, especially when it comes to some shooting and stuff, he does have better stuff. If you have a bad version of Dark Matter Giannis versus 100 overall Giannis, there's not a huge difference in terms of what they give you. I'll go high A, but I don't think I'd go S for Giannis. As crazy as that is, 100 overall Giannis, I think I'd go A. Jamal Mashburn is another Jamal Midburn. His release isn't top tier. He's not top tier size wise. Stats and badges are good, but again, plays at a very stacked position. I just don't think he's an exceptional card. Probably go D tier for him as well. Goat Braun has to go S tier. With his improved release, he's really, really good. Now, the release is not quite as good as you would probably like it to be. Probably mainly, I would say, because his upper just isn't that good still. But I do not think he's a bad card at all, and I would definitely still put him in the top tier at the small forward position. I will say Braun is not quite as good as some people I think he is sometimes, but I definitely don't think he's a bad card at all, and I think he does deserve still to be pretty high up at the small forward position, S tier for sure. AK-47 is an exceptional defender, but offensively, his release is not exceptional. His SIGs could be a bit better. He's not bad, but he's not top tier. At this point in the game, I think Sean Kemp, Chris Webber, Amari Stoudemire, Andre Kirilenko, all very similarly tiered. I think C tier is probably fair. Terry Dishinger's release is great, but that's about it. SIGs are not bad either. He does have Kimba Escape, which is good, but as a whole, I think he could be a little bit better as a card himself at this point in the year. Like, he was a really nice reward card when he first came out, but at this point, I think it's totally fair to put him in the C tier. And honestly, I mean, you could argue D if you wanted to. Now, no doubt about it, D tier for Zion. That one's for sure. I don't think there's any doubt about that in my mind. Really, really solid card. If he was 2 inches taller and had a better release and a bunch of other things. As is, he's one of the worst small forwards in this game, on this list. Now, Zion's an exceptional player in real life, and I think he's a little bit underappreciated in real life these days, but I have a hard time at the same time putting him any higher than where I have him right now in the D tier. Like, I don't think he could even be argued much higher. I'm going B for Kevin Garnett. I think Luol Deng, John Isaac, like, they have better releases than KG. KG does have better movement. He's 6'11". But his release is kind of bad. I just am not a big fan of Kevin Garnett's release, and honestly, I never have been. I'm not the biggest. I don't know. Y'all know me. Release is super important to me, and I mean, Giannis. If Giannis isn't S tier, I feel like KG's not quite A tier. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's actually a pretty fair spot to put him. Is in the B tier at this point. It's not that I hate this KG card. I just think release is super duper important. One of the most important things in this game, and he does not have an elite one, and I think that does 100% matter, like a good amount. Tony Kukoc. This might be the most controversial. This is the most controversial thing I've done on this entire list, but he's got perfect SIGs and he's 6'11" with Jamal Murray behind the back and an elite level release. He has elite size, an elite release, elite dribble SIGs, and really, honestly, elite stats and badges as well. Tony Kukoc, I understand. He's like what Lauri Markkanen would be if Lauri Markkanen had near perfect SIGs, basically. Huge player build, really good release. Great slasher, great shooter, great playmaker. And yes, the defensive badges. I know, only 3 defensive hoffs. Everything else on gold is a big deal, especially at 6'11", 90+ defensively. That size is something you can't underrate, and his release is phenomenal. I understand this is probably the most controversial pick on this list, but I'm putting him S tier. And then GOAT Larry Bird is the exact same card as his regular Dark Matter and his 100 overall, by the way. It plays the exact same. Same exact SIGs, same exact animations. I don't even really think there's a big noticeable difference between these cards. And I understand putting a GOAT card in B tier feels kind of crazy. And maybe it is because I have GOAT Braun. And no, I'll put him in A. And honestly, this Larry should almost be an A as well. But I'll put him high B with Jonathan Isaac and Luol Deng. The B tier is still good on this list. Like, SIGs are a little worse on this Giannis. Maybe I move him down when I'm looking at this because his release isn't elite still, and his SIGs are a little worse. And but he's 7 foot. He's good. Like, I don't know, man. This is a tough list. I think I'm going to leave it like this. I know I'm probably going to have some disagreement in the comments, and I get that. But again, remember, this is my opinion, and if you disagree with me, that's totally fine. Just remember to be polite about it, because some of my comments have been a little toxic recently. It's okay, though. I appreciate everybody who watches the videos. I hope you all enjoy. If you do, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.